haven't been down here in so long. It's been cold.
Yes. As I light this candle, I will that the spirit continues to stay the flame.
In the middle here, after years it walked
In the road?
Yeah, that was actually where he died at.
Oh, in the road.
Yes, right here. There used to be a black X. You know they marked the spot
Yes,
where you,
yes,
but
yes.
it faded away. There used to be a black X right there. So this is kind of why this is, you know, the spot.
This spot is chosen for
Right.
that. Do you come here a lot?
Not a lot, but I come here.
Do you drive through kind of just?
Yes.
What do you?
When I drive through, I automatically, you know, keep going
Send them the
if I'm
love
going somewhere.
AKA the hostly ghost. Feel me? Devil's inside. Trust the man upstairs. He'll do great things for you. Yeah. I said the devil's inside.
Devil inside,
Yeah.
devil inside,
I said the devil's inside. Host of the year,
devil
LNS.
inside,
We in the building. I said the devil's alive.
devil's alive, devil's alive,
The devil's alive. Gotham City boys, Blood Nation.
devil's
Don't have the plug. Let's go, man.
Yes, how was everybody doing? How was everybody doing today, man? So, just another day, trying to do something positive, trying to do something constructive with my time, with my effort. So today, people, man, we're gonna dig a little deeper into our neighborhood and into our community, man, and we're gonna have a mother's message. You know, we're gonna have a conversation about the gun violence and the impact it has on our neighborhoods, our communities, especially our families. Today, I'm going to have a conversation with a mother from our community, and I want everybody to understand what it takes to really give a mother's message. So, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good.
So, can you introduce yourself and let everybody know where you are from?
My name is Azure Tucker, but everybody call me Mook. And I'm from Albany, New York, actually.
Okay.
We moved over here in 2000, me and my kids.
Okay. So, the first question I wanted to ask you was, how did it feel when I contacted you about doing something like this?
I was nervous. I'm still a little nervous, but, you know, sometimes you got to break the ice and just, you know, let it out. So I was ready.
You was ready?
Yes.
How many people have asked you to do something like this?
Quite a few.
Quite a few?
Yes.
So what made this something that you would want to do now?
I feel like it's the right timing for me.
Okay.
Before it wasn't the right timing because I was in a dark place then.
Okay.
Now I'm still in a dark place, but I have peace. So I feel like now I can get it out without like any, you know, being anger about it. Now I want to get it out so I can help somebody, you know, and for myself too.
Wow. This is really important for me, that I go on this kind of journey of helping other people and bringing awareness in our neighborhood. And I think through your story, I think that we're going to be able to tap into a few people that might understand what's really going on and how much impact that this kind of stuff have on the families in our neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
So my first question is, how much children do you have?
How many what children?
Yes.
3.
You have 3, and Carter was the oldest?
Carter was the middle.
Okay.
I have an older. His name is Amel. Then it was Carter. Carter's actual real name is Azure. And then I have a daughter. Her name is Amani.
Okay. So before I go into it, I want you to tell people out there who Ahziarh was.
It's Azure has his own story. He was his own person. He did his own thing. Loved you, loyalty, 100%. He was just him, and that's why a lot of people loved and respected him, because he was a unique person. You know,
Yes.
he did a lot of things a lot of people wouldn't do.
Wow. So when you first heard the news, where was you?
See, and this is why I was ready to tell my story,
Okay.
because the news didn't tell me.
Wow.
I heard the gunshots that killed my son.
Okay.
I live on Hutton in 11th. He died on Hutton in 06. I was on the phone with a friend. She lives on 8th Street, between Hutton and Hoosick. I live on 11th between Hutton. Well, my side blockers. I was on the phone with her. Gunshots. So I heard. And, you know, I knew the type of lifestyle my son lived. So whenever I heard of a shooting, my normal thing was to call. And that's what I did. I called. He didn't answer. I called my oldest son. He called me back, and said somebody said it was him.
And what was the first thoughts going through your mind when you finally got the real news?
Why? You know, you always want to know why somebody would take somebody else's life, you know. But it's a lot of things that I don't know, that, you know, what he was doing in the streets, because he didn't live that lifestyle around me. So.
Wow. So I'm going to take you back a little bit, right?
Okay.
I want you to think about the stuff that we go through right now. So since your son has passed, I want to know, what was that first 2 weeks like? Because that's a lot of time where, you know, you got to make funeral arrangements and all of this stuff. Like, I want people to understand what.
The first 2 weeks is, honestly, it felt like it happened yesterday. So it's a lifetime of pain. But those first 2 weeks, you cry, you don't eat, you don't sleep, you pray to God, you ask God to take you and bring him back. It's hard. No matter if it was 2 weeks, 10 years, 2 days, it's just hard.
Around the time that your son had passed, I was running a program called the Youth Build, right around the block by 06 by the CEO building.
Okay.
And there was a few young people that passed away around that same time. What was the community like? Because it wasn't only just you suffering, it was a couple of mothers suffering around. Like, did you have a chance to talk with those other moms and kind of like see what was going on?
Well, you know, I talked to Reek mom, but for me, and that's why I said I feel like today was my time. I don't really like to, you know, because there's nothing I could really say to her or ask her, because there's nothing nobody can really say to me or ask me. I just know that where he was a dangerous area to be. It still is today. People's kids are still getting killed down there. Okay. So I feel like it was just that whole 06 area is just a bad place for anybody to be honest. And I feel like any mother that lost their son, you know, there's nothing you can say to them.
All right. So let's go into your journey into finding some kind of sensibility of what's going on. What was your journey like?
It was hard. It still is hard, but it got easier. I try to keep my son's name alive as much as possible. Like, I rep purple for him. That's why I wore it today.
Yes.
His birthday, We have stuff. His death day, we have stuff. It's a hard journey for any mother that has lost her son or their child, period, to live every day without their child. Like, you don't want to wake up. You don't want to live because you're like, my child is supposed to be here living with me. So the journey is a very hard one. You got to stay prayed up. You got to have a great support system. My support system when my son passed away was amazing. You definitely need that when you're going through something like that. But the journey never ends. It's an ongoing, continuous journey because I still have to live the rest of my life without him.
Wow. That's hard for any person. And I'm hoping that when people watching these things, they don't see this as podcasters. They see this as a mother's message to any other young person out there, man, that is in the streets or even around the streets, man, because most times it's not the kids that deserve it. And sometimes we just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to know, how was it for you and your two other children?
It was hard because Carter was the middle child, so he was both of their best friends. So, but he spent more time with my older son. My older son was, you know, they was like best friends. But my daughter loved him, you know, too. So Carter was both of their favorites. So for them, they struggled too. You know, my daughter wanted to kill herself. My son, he still, you know, because they were so close, have a lot of down days. You know, he talked to him a lot. We try to talk to him when we're going through stuff other than talking to other people because he's not going to judge us versus somebody else. And we know that he's listening. So it's hard. It's definitely hard for me and my kids. I just pray for my kids more than I pray for me.
Wow. One of the reasons why I really want to talk to you on top of you being impactful, there is this trend going on, man. When a person passed away, they kind of use their name in vain and put him in this music and stuff. And your son is very popular, and he still is very popular.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your son's name being in the music on both sides of this stuff?
I don't like it at all because let my son rest in peace. You know, he's not here to defend himself on no end. So why are you even mentioning somebody that's not even here? I don't like that. And that's not even for my son. That's for any child. Why are y'all mentioning people's kids in these songs that y'all fighting with each other and the kids is not even here to defend themselves? Like, you're not getting no clout off of that, or you don't get no credit. You just make yourself look a little bit worse than you already are.
Yes. Yeah, man. That's every time I see it, I just can't understand. But I know that these young people don't really understand. So since 2015, your son passed away, there has been numerous young people that has lost their lives in the city of Troy. Have you seen any kind of change, any kind of difference being made?
Not.
Is there anything that you could say to any mother that have a young person that's in the streets, or to a mother that already lost a child?
I feel to the mothers that have their kids here, you got to get more into your kids' life. You got to, you know certain things about your children, but also it's hard with the kids nowadays. They so private. They don't want you to know anything about their life, and stuff that they don't do at home, they're going to do out in the streets.
That's a fact.
And we as mothers, we got to work, clean, cook, make sure we stay mothers for the children. We can't be out in the street chasing them and knowing what they're doing. And that's where a lot of people go wrong with blaming the mom. Oh, the mom shoulda, coulda, woulda. But what if that mom did everything she was supposed to do and the child still?
Yes.
You know? So it's you can't really say because there's a lot of moms out here that are, you know, in their kids' lives or in their kids' rooms or in there to stop their kids, but when they go outside, they just who they are. Like my son, Carter, no, that wasn't brought home. And I learned a lot of things about him after he passed away, to be honest. He knew to keep that far away from me because I don't want nothing to do with it, but I can't chase him in the streets. You know, I can't be out there harassing him every day, following him, making sure he's not doing it. I'm going to tell him every time I see him, absolutely, I'm going to be on him, but, you know?
It's a fact, man, because that's one thing I hear from a lot of people is just blame. Like, people blame other people, but the God honest truth is, throughout all the programs I ever ran, people always say that the parents is not involved. The truth is, the parents work 2 and 3 jobs. The parents is really busting their ass out here. That's the truth and the reality of it.
It's definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely understand that whole piece. So another thing I wanted to ask you is about the community support. What kind of community support? I'm not talking about from like the agencies. I'm talking about like, because we as black men, everybody got like a not-for-profit and something going on in the streets and everything else. How much support did you get and around your
community?
Yeah.
I personally feel as if I didn't get no support. Like, nobody really, you know, people will come out, you want to talk, but as far as like showing, none from the community. My family and friends, all the support. The community, Carter had his memorial up on the street, you know, so they told us to take it down, which we did, which is now in my home now, but they said they was going to plant a purple flower out there for him. So, you know, and never did that.
Okay.
So the community didn't really show support. I got all the support from my family and friends.
Well, I'm glad that you have a strong family support, and I'm hoping that when people watch this stuff, man, that people got to understand that when a young person loses their life, everybody suffers, man, but the family gets a harder impact, and we be there for the bang. Right. Like in the beginning, everybody is for the pictures, for all this good stuff, the social media stuff. But after, how long did they even stop coming around?
I have some people that still today, almost 7 years later, a few, and a lot of people just stop coming around. But those people that's important, they're still there. So that's what matters to me. Yes. I love that, man. That's always something that I really want to hear, is that people have a real support system in the community, but in their family. You know what I mean? So what is today like? Like, what is today like for Mook? Today is good for my soul, but hard for my heart. Because I want to be happy, but a piece of my heart is broken. So, you know, I take it day by day.
What type of change would you like to see in a community? If it's Albany, if it's Troy, because Albany's going through the same things. It's like the same thing in all the neighborhoods that we actually come from.
Violence is one of the most, you know, dangerous acts of a person, for you to kill someone with a gun, like on purpose. So that would be my number one. Like, stop the violence, please. You are literally destroying families. You know, like, they don't know what a family has to go through on a daily basis. They don't know. So it's hard, but stop the violence.
Wow. This is a really hard conversation to have, and I don't think that it's going to take one sit down.
Right.
I think it's like in doses.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because after we sit down is when we understand how far we're ready to go. Right. I'm not sure how far I'm ready to push you into this conversation. Okay. I think that we can take our time and work through this thing here. So if recently we just lost another young person in our community, and he was another popular kid in our community. Did you know that young guy from the community?
Yes.
Jalen?
Actually, yes. Well, my son was at his mom's house when he, you know, that's where he used to be. Her oldest son is his best friend. And that's why they love my son so much, because he was always there. Like when my son first passed away, Dante always called him, "That's my son." You know, I had to stop my family, like, you know, she loved him, like, let her chill. But yeah, they love my son. So I didn't know him personally. I knew of him, you know, because I know his mom. I know her kids, because my son, like, they love my son as if that was their family, or her and her kids.
Wow. So do you think that there will ever be any kind of change?
Sad to say, honestly, I don't think so.
Wow.
It has to, people have to want it. And honestly, I don't think they want it bad enough. You can talk all you want, but your actions show that, you know, nobody wants to change, because everybody is still out here doing the same thing. Nobody is coming together. Nobody is really putting stuff together to actually go and stop the violence. You can say all you want, but what are you doing to actually stop it?
That's a fact. That's a whole fact right there.
How do you feel as a mom of, you know, your son was a teenager?
I wish it could all go away. I wish, even though we can't bring the kids that's gone back, if it can completely stop right now, violence, I'll be okay with that. You know what I mean? Because we don't, no mom has to go through what I go through ever again. No mom, no dad, sister, brother, cousin, nieces, uncles, nephews, you know, it's hurtful. And when it affects the whole family, the most hardest thing in the world to live without your child. And you're living and your child's not. That right there will emotionally, mentally drive you crazy. So you have to be, you really have to have a strong will within you.
Is the purple a representation for your son? Is that something that you chose, or was that something that your son lived?
Color.
Okay.
So
okay.
we chose purple
So
represent him. So I try to wear it often. I try to, you know, consume it in my life as much as I can. You know what I mean? Like,
does it ever seem to be easy, or does it all just go back to the first time?
it all goes back. No matter what, it all goes back. Even right now, you know, it all goes back. Because I told your husband, I live on Hutton and 11th. My son got killed on 6th in Hutton. I heard the gunshots. I was on the phone with somebody that lived on 8th in Hutton. So it echoed. And, you know, it's different for me, because he called that day and I didn't pick up. So, you know, stuff like that bothers me, but I try to, you know, not to let it.
We rise each day, and you either live or you're present. And this mother's message, it came to me through the simple fact that I am a mother. I have been a mother to several people's children outside of my own. I've had my son gain brothers through programs and see my son grow up with these other children. And then as I see some of them lose their life in the process of us always claiming that we need to help the children, I realize that as a mother, we don't have handbooks, we don't have guides. And we have pride and we have egos, and we try so hard to keep our children from being statistics that they end up being a statistic on a sidewalk somewhere, and their life is only celebrated by candles. I said a few years ago that the only way that we could save the children is if we capture the parents, is if we can find a way to reach out and tap in and tune in, and we got to do it together, because unfortunately there's a lot of single parent households. There's a lot of fathers missing, a lot of mothers missing for several different reasons. societal conditions. And if we don't tap into these parents, if we don't listen to these parents, if we don't allow these parents to speak, how can we possibly help these children? How do we save these children? So this mother's message is personal for me because I have come to the point that I realize that I'm tired of losing babies because parents can't be accountable, because we can't respect other parents, because we claim that we need help. But then when the village comes, we want to tear the village down. So I just will, out of the passion that I have inside me and out of the love and the honor and the respect and the compassion that I have for other people, that my community will stand up, that my community will listen, that you will see these mothers and you will know that that could be you. And don't wait until you're taking your baby off of the X on the sidewalk. Don't wait to care about another woman or another man because your pride and your ego is too big. We all have a purpose in life, and when you feel uncomfortable and you feel uneasy, you need to grab a hold of it, you need to take control of it, and you need to put it in a space where it's going to make a better life for all of us. So that's what we're doing over here. That's what this message is about. Listen to these mothers and hear what they have to say, and put your feet in their shoes before you actually have to walk in them.
I wanted to take the time, man, and use my platform, man, and use my resources to really give back to my community. For a number of years, man, my brother and I, man, we've been in these neighborhoods and we've been in these communities, man. We've been workers, man. We've been working. We've been doing positive work. And throughout that time, man, like, we have noticed that the work that was needed, man, was just different. It was really personal. It was really emotional. And a lot of people, man, was ready to skip that part. I created youth programs. I work with these mothers. I spoke to these mothers. Not these mothers specifically, but I spoke to a lot of mothers just like this during my own journey of trying to change a neighborhood or trying to change a community. And one thing that I have noticed is that the leadership, man, is not strong enough. I just really hope that everybody, man, that really supports Don't Hide the Plug, support Plug Nation Inc., support Boss Builders Barbershop and Outreach, man, that they take notice of what leadership means.